Good afternoon. My name is Tumi Tladi, and I'm coming through on Monday, the 21st of June, 2021. Time is 8 minutes before 3 p.m. Okay, this is gonna be video number 19. In the meantime, I wanna fire the website. So it doesn't matter if this one is .NET Framework or .NET Core, but what I'm about to do right now is the same thing for both frameworks. Okay, cool. Now, please watch the previous videos to understand the milestone that I've set for myself when making this content, also where I'm coming from. So this content is good, it's raw. I do not plan what I'm gonna do. I just have an idea, and then I feel like the direction that I usually take is the right one. So this material, it's good stuff. It really is good stuff. Please tell your friends about this content. It's amazing. And then please like, share, and then subscribe to this YouTube channel for more daily content. Like I have 4 or rather 3 videos I'm about to do. I'll release them tomorrow, and it's good stuff. That I can promise you. Right. So what are we doing today? I'm gonna take a look at the code, but for web. So let's go to Visual Studio. Now I'm gonna focus on this project, also this project. So these are 2 different projects with 2 different frameworks. The other one is ASP.NET MVC Targeting.NET Framework, and this one is ASP.NET MVC Targeting.NET Core. So I wanna do the layout file. Right, so if we go to the views, and then we go to shared, and then we go to this underscore layout, and I'll explain why. So let's give it a second to spin behind the scenes. So this is a layout. So if you're new to this channel, and then you probably are first year, second year, or someone who likes to learn web development, you bump into this video not by mistake. This channel, it's not a mistake that you bump into it, or it's not a mistake that you're told about this channel, or it's not a mistake that you saw a link, about one of my videos. Because then what I'm doing is that I'm not just telling you what does what. I'm doing so in the context of a real production system, the one that you will see along the way. There's some bugs, things don't make sense. I keep on identifying them. And right now I do have a pen and paper with me, where I write some stuff, the things I need to work on, bugs I identify. So I write some stuff. So, I'm still learning, but I challenge myself to build a system. And then I have another new system that it's new, it's only 2 weeks old. I haven't done much, but I currently created a repository on GitHub. And you need to understand that when I put together this material, this content for this channel, it's also for me, because I am my own biggest fan. So I do this so that I can identify my own mistakes or learn certain things so that I can become a better developer. So let's get started. Let's go back and check this file. Okay, and now I'm gonna come back to this project in a second, but let's go to the one of .NET Core. And then you see, I want you to see certain things. I first started with .NET Framework version, and then I went ahead with .NET Core version. And now you see some red squiggles. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why we have some red squiggles. I'm hoping that this guy will resolve them, since there are some background tasks. But let's continue. So I did my best to make both web applications targeting different frameworks to be identical. I did my best. And where it's not identical, we'll continue to see that. Now, if you look at this file, it appears differently. This one and this one appears differently. This one. And then we're going to talk about certain things about this file, why it's important, why you should not be freaked out to want to learn .NET Core, web applications in .NET Core. You should not freak out. You should not, and then scream and all that. Now, so this one is .NET Core. This one is, okay, let me do this. Let me put the .NET Framework on the left. Now let's do this at the top. So this one, if I hover, you can see that it's it's the one I first started with, and this one is .NET Core. So what are the differences? I mean, I don't mind showing you .NET Framework and .NET Core. I don't mind doing that. So you can see if this is the first video of mine that you're bumping into. So let's do MVC. Alright, let's give it a second. But let's do this. Let's wait for a shortcut that I put on the home page. I want to start page to pop up. It will pop up in a second. So I don't want to type. Oh, there we go. This is the guy. Okay, cool. Now let's go back to Visual Studio. So this file, it's nothing but the HTML file. So you know that we declared this to be an HTML file. You know, it's the same thing. You know this basic stuff. You know, and then this stuff are critical and important. I think for this one, I believe it's for what you call this, for responsiveness. Okay, and then the title, obviously, and then you can see the syntax is different. This is the .NET Framework where we are using @viewback, and then we just like a dot title. It's a property. So this one, the syntax is different. You should know the similarities and the differences. And then this way here, this is where we register the bundles. So speaking of the bundles in .NET, yeah, this is critical. So let's close this folder, and let's also close this folder. Let's go back to .NET Framework. If you look at the content, because it says go to content, you see CSS, right? And now this way I'm saying, listen, I'm gonna render everything that is a CSS file out of this folder. Just render it. That's for the styles. For the scripts, well, bundle modernizer, honestly I don't know what modernizer does. I'll be lying. Okay, cool. So but here I'm just like, let's go to CSS. We'll find the style site.css for .NET Framework. I hope this makes sense. Okay, let's continue. Now for app icons, this is imperative. Now I made my own icons that in their respective folders for all, I believe, devices, and then running on different operating systems, you know, for Apple, for Android, for web, for, you know. So what are we talking about? We're talking about these icons, this icon and that icon. Okay, so app icons handles that. So let's continue. And then I have this navigation for style, navigation style sheet. So what does it mean for both platforms is that this is a navigation bar. So the same, it has its own style sheet. So the same thing I did to say, let's go and get navigation bar, the style sheet for navigation bar. So I also use comments to make my life easier like this. So I know how I reference it. This belongs in custom, as you can see, content custom. And this one also content, you see custom, and that's how it knows about it. Also reference to home style sheet. So also this one is different. Reference to home style sheet. Now this container, we call it a body bar. This is a navigation bar. This is a body bar. So this is a home stuff. You see, for it to do this, you know, this is JavaScript part of it. We understand, but the styling, to style the button, to have the background, to have this guy, to have this font and everything on both the platforms, this is for home stuff. Okay, that should make sense. And then we have a footer style sheet, and you can see I started, the top ones are style sheets, the top ones. Then we go to the footer. So this part here, let me miss this. We'll do it a video for this guy, what this guy is. This part here, we call it a footer bar. Yes, we call it a footer bar. Also dismiss this guy. This is a footer bar. So the style, to have the color, to size, the font, you know, to have these icons, you know, to have them side by side like this, you know, to have this guy to an anchor, everything here, it's a footer. It has its own style sheet. Okay, and then the development environment for MVC grid style sheet. So this is a local MVC grid. Okay, this is a .NET Framework. In here I don't have it because this MVC grid, it's only compatible with .NET Framework but not .NET Core. Cool. So that one, you know that we have the MVC grid. We did a video about it. And then we have a CDN for toast R. Now I'll show toast R in a second when I log in. So, but those are small notification pop-ups that show up in green, in orange, you know, those are the toast R notifications, now you know. And then this is CDN. So you can see it's going into the internet or to the cloud. I also have the same thing for the net call. Okay. And then we have, let's see, CDN for font awesome. So we have a CDN for font awesome.net call. I also have it here. It's the same guy for handling. We did a video. It's the last video. Check video number, I believe 16, 17, 18, number 18. Yes, where we did the font awesome. And okay, this one, the development environment for Toast R. This is a local version. Like if I'm working offline, I disable this guy and then I enable this guy. So that's how also you become productive as a developer. If you can have both styles referenced locally, you know, in case you don't have internet, you can continue to check your functionality. So that's what I do. But this side I didn't do it, so there's a little bit of an inconsistency and I don't like it. But it's okay. I can also remove this guy to say I can never depend on the local environment of this guy or development environment of this style sheet. Okay, so let's move on. So this is also a style accompanying the MVC grid control. So that one is not relevant here. And then now this side, because that MVC grid is not compatible in .NET Core, it's been substituted and replaced by Syncfusion Essential JS2 styles. So they tell you that you need to reference the CDN for it. So this is specifically for .NET Core, and I also have the script. So I have to put them in one line to make it easy for me. So now you understand. Okay, what is this last guy in the header? Now this guy, global site tag for Google Analytics. I'm still gonna do the service for Google Analytics, how you check if someone is currently on your website. You know, we'll do this later on. So, but this is how you add the script necessary to do that. Okay, for both platforms. Okay, cool. Now, then we come to the body. Now the body is quite, the body tag, this body tag, it's quite interesting. So let me close this guy. We don't want to be long on this video, I promise you that, but I just want to show you something, that I have a comment that says this is now where a navigation bar starts. This guy is a navigation bar, and this guy is also a navigation bar. They are the same, and I'll explain. And then we have the body, but I'll come to the body later on, and then we have the last one, the footer. Cool. Now, okay, let me do the body first because it's most easy, and then let's do navigation bar. Not navigation bar, sorry. Let's do the footer. It's easy because I'm gonna spend time in navigation bar. Just a moment. So look at the syntax for the .NET framework. This is how we say, listen, this portion is where we render anything that makes up a body. So you just use add render body. It knows how to handle anything. So now this portion, it's a body bar. This is where we render the body. If I go to about page, there's this portion, it changes. If I go to content page, only this portion changes because we're rendering different layouts or different part of the body or different bodies all together on the same layout. Meaning that the navigation bar stays the same, footer stays the same, and anything that's on the layout stays the same, except for what's rendered inside the body, tag. In this case, the body div tag. Okay, cool. Even the CSS are the same because I think by default for .NET Core they're quite different, but now they're the same. Well, sorry, they're the same. I make sure that they're the same. Container, body content, they're the same. But I meant to say that I saw this one comes in different. Yeah, it's different. Okay, so that I had to get it to be identical. Now the footer. See the footer, I used the comment again to let's look at the footer. So footer is something that's a lot. Okay, first I have the footer tag. It has its own CSS class. And then I have UL, and then I have UL. Okay, so this is the first UL about identical dogs. And let's go. This is the first part. And then I have the second one and the third one. So this is the first UL, and then this is second UL, and then this is the third UL, and then I have a section for the social media, and then we're talking about this guy, this line with everything. So that's what we have, and I have the last section for the links, you know. So yeah, so this makes up the footer. It's the same thing what's happening here. It's literally identical for both the platforms. Okay, cool. A tip about the version control. In my case, if I have to change some Facebook URLs, because if I hover, you can see from the bottom left for Instagram, if I want to change the link, if I click this guy where it's going, I have to change for both of them. So version control helps me to do this thing right. Okay, now in MVC, in .NET Core, this is where I bring in stuff for MVC Grid. This stuff is for MVC Grid in .NET Framework, but remember they're incompatible this side, right? And then I do this. I never understood what this guy does, but you can do your own research, and I render all the scripts. Good. And this side I have jQuery, and I have a Bootstrap, and I have a general site.js. So you understand that .NET Core, it's a bit different how it operates. And I render all the section asynchronously. See, render section, but this one it's asynchronous version of it. Cool. Then I come to navigation JavaScript. Now, like I said, navigation has a style sheet, also it has a JavaScript, because like I said, for it to be able to move like this is JavaScript in a nutshell. Cool. And then I have a reference to home JavaScript. Sorry about this. Navigation JavaScript. This is navigation JavaScript. This guy, let me show you how. When this guy, it's not going to be responsive, I'll show you what it does. See this? See this? If I click this guy, this is JavaScript. If I close, that's JavaScript. Sorry about that. Sorry about confusion. So that's navigation, and the body is this guy, you know, moving from one guy to the other. Okay, cool. So that's navigation JavaScript. This one also, and then this is a reference for home JavaScript. Okay, that's how it gets to work. And then I have a CDN for toaster for JavaScript. This guy, and then I have a development. Like I said, I need to remove this guy. I no longer use it for toaster in development mode. Okay, cool. And then this is the actual implementation for toaster. For it to pop up, let's do a simple test drive. What I'm talking about, the login. So let it load in the meantime, so that I can show you how this guy works. So this is the actual implementation. So it's a JavaScript code where I have the alert type from any controller. I have the alert title and alert message, and I show based on if it's not empty, because I have to control it, and then if it's not success, if it's success, or if it's error, else if it's info, else if it's warning. So this is the code that makes it possible. You know, everything I've already set it up. You know, I've been using this thing on multiple systems. This toaster, it's fantastic. It's something to bring quickly. So login, quickly login. If I type in login, login, and then some dummy stuff, and press enter, you see there's something's gonna pop up here. That's how I know which the toast to show. So let's give it a second, another second. Oh, should I say a minute? We can count down. Oh no. There we go. This guy, it says this is the alert type, which is the warning, and then this alert title, and this the message. All of this coming from the controller, and then it gets to be fed into the layout. Okay, so, and then lastly, I have that thing that popped up there, the one that said I dismissed it, that thing for social media. We call it add this. It's an add this service. I'll do a video on that. How do you set up, what are the benefits on it. Then lastly, this is how you reference that Syncfusion data grid control. This is how you get the JavaScript. Just this, it will work. So I'm done with .NET Core version. Now I want to do Signal R. It's something completely different. I want to do Signal R, so I comment it out because it's complicated code. And then the actual implementation of Signal R, I want to do a test drive on .NET Framework first before I can replicate the functionality this side. I still need this thing, but I comment out because it's quite complex. Very, very complex. So this was the tour. Well, I'm not done. Remember I said we should go to navigation bar because I want to talk about certain things. Okay, let's bring this guy back again because the same thing. So whichever one, doesn't matter. Okay, so when it comes to navigation bar, I have a if, else if, and an else. So currently what you see here, because this is navigation bar, you see the title, you see home, about, contact, and then register and login. So this is the else part. So this way I'm saying else part. I'm saying else because the user, the current logged in user, it's not in this row, it's not in this role, it's not in this role, meaning that they don't have any role assigned. So this is how I show that navigation bar. It took me a while to get this thing right based on different roles. It took me a while, so this is how I did it. And then I think it's going to be important how you check the partial name for login partial. I think it's going to be very important to show the difference. Just this one. You see how we render the partials. So this is .NET Framework HTML.partial. So it's the same underscore login partial. We'll do extensive video on it. And then this guy is just using the partial tag, and then just give the name. So the .NET Core things are being simplified. You should know the difference. But other than that, everything's the same. Okay, cool. So now if I am the administrator, I have additional access to this link called task, but I already used authorize attribute to make sure that I'm only one who can get to this. Because it doesn't matter even if you do this, but if this home controller go into this action method operations, if it's not secure, then what's the point? I think it's gonna be important if I show that controller, home controller. Just give it a second to spin. There we go. So I'm saying this is a home controller, and then this operation action method, and then only administrator is authorized. They can see everything by default, but when it comes to this, we'll do this. It has its own video. Okay. And then where were we? And then if you're my client, I mean, even if you register now, it doesn't matter because I have to still give you explicitly the client role. That's if you are a business or a store owner. I'm talking about this person, this gentleman here, the gentleman that has the necessary tools to make copies or to print out documents. Also talking about this gentleman here, this guy. So that guy, when he registers, he becomes my client. By default, he's not going to have a role, but I have to give him a client. So you will have access to 3 additional links: business, access, pin, documents. And then, like I said, I went to do this service, this document notifier, so I comment out. Lastly, partial, it's a different ball game. It only has access to business, but I'll explain when I get to the roles of this system. So in a nutshell, this is the underscore layout, a comparison between two frameworks, and then how you should not be intimidated to learn .NET Core. My advice, because I'm done, learn .NET Framework first, and then transition to .NET Core. I learned Framework first, ASP.NET MVC, then I went to the .NET Core version of it. I also learned ASP.NET Web API for .NET Framework. Now I know the one targeting .NET Core. So this is how I'm learning. This is how I'm becoming good. So yeah, I'm also showing my potential employer that, listen, I can do for both platforms. So I did that for this system. Yeah, that's the only thing I want to cover today. because you're gonna see stuff like changing. Now I have access to tasks, now I have access to business. How do you do that? And then how do I show you that I don't play games? Because I'm gonna do authentication and authorization where I show you all the controllers and we're gonna double check. Meaning I'm gonna teach you, check all your controllers if they have a proper authorized attribute, authorizing proper people with the proper roles, because then you can make a mistake when it comes to production systems. So we don't play games when it comes to production systems. We pay attention. So in a nutshell, this was it. I hope you found this video informative, as I did, and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Until next time.